In a previous video, I made the claim that Dark Souls 1 was the culmination of Hidetaka Miyazaki's life's work, his true vision, his magnum opus. But what if Dark Souls was just a template? What if Miyazaki, hampered by the constraints of time and the friction of budget, was forced to leave the edges of his dream unpolished? Miyazaki didn't step away from Dark Souls 2 by accident. He left to pursue a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. He left for Project Beast, what would become the jagged, blood-soaked, crowning achievement of his career. He left for Bloodborne. If Dark Souls is FromSoftware's flawed masterpiece, Bloodborne is their perfect storm. It is the rare moment where vision, passion, resources, and experience collide to create something singular. It is a horror story, a pulse-pounding action-adventure, and a marvel of storytelling written in tragedy and viscera. It is both the most hauntingly beautiful and unrepentantly grotesque experience video games have to offer. Simply put, Bloodborne is the greatest game of all time. To make this case, I will build the foundation for my argument on 5 pillars. Each pillar will be presented from weakest to strongest in my opinion, so we'll be leaving the best for last. But first, some honorable mentions. Honorable mention 1. Boss and enemy design. It is a testament to Bloodborne's depth that its creature design, arguably the best in the industry, is relegated to an honorable mention on my list. There are 3 fundamental enemy and boss types in the game: beasts, humans, and celestial beings. While we don't even know celestial beings exist until much further into the story, Bloodborne brilliantly presents beasts and humanoid bosses to the player as our first 2 major adversaries, with the Cleric Beast and Gascoigne, both of whom exemplify what makes their design so special. We are introduced to the nightmare not with a whisper, but with a shriek. The Cleric Beast, perched atop the Great Bridge, is our first lesson in Miyazaki's cruel irony. In Yharnam, it is the holy who transform into the most hideous beasts. And while she is not particularly difficult due to being the first boss most players are likely to encounter, she is grotesque. She is violent. She screams and flails and unleashes her fury on the player like only a Bloodborne boss truly can. Father Gascoigne is on another level entirely. While we'll talk about his story more later, the fight itself, the unbridled hostility and aggression we feel, the beasthood taking over his form in the final phase of the fight, the pacing, the intensity, it remains one of the best bosses in any game to this day. Gascoigne acts as a mirror to the player, a blood-crazed fiend, eternally lost in the night of the hunt, teetering between the lines of humanity and beasthood. His design as a weather-beaten hunter turned mad, bleeds off the screen, and is a warning of what we may soon become. Bloodborne introduces itself to Souls veterans by saying, "This isn't going to be a gentleman's duel anymore. You are in for a bloody, desperate battle for your lives and your sanity." Also, just look at Ludwig, dude. Come on. Honorable mention 2. Voice acting.
Oh, God, it feels awful. But it proves that I'm chosen.
The quiet desperation of Gilbert as the denial of his fate slips away.
Oh, you must be a hunter, and not one from around here either.
Not me. Stay away. Stay away from me. Enough blood. Keep it away.
The stoic, world-weary warnings from Eileen the Crow.
Oh, a hunter, are you? And an outsider? What a mess you've been caught up in. And tonight of all nights, what's wrong? A hunter unnerved by a few beasts? Enough trembling in your boots. A hunter must hunt.
Alfred, as he turns from a dear friend to a blood-soaked murderer.
Our prey might differ, but we are hunters, the both of us. Why not cooperate and discuss the things we've learned?
Oh, very good.
Very good indeed. Take this to celebrate our acquaintance. Master, look! I've done it! I've done it! I smashed and pounded and grounded this rotten siren into fleshy pink pulp, all mangled and twisted with every inside on the outside for all the world to see.
No introduction needed for this one.
Aha. Oh, majestic! A hunter is a hunter even in a dream. Ah, cos. Or some say cosm. Oh! Oh! Ah! Now I'm waking up! I'll forget everything!
The Manic Musings of Gehrman.
Don't think too hard about all of this. Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the doll, should it please you. Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt.
The Fishing Hamlet Priest's Wrathful Lamentations.
Black and blood, blasphemous murderers, blood-crazed fiends, atonement for the wretches, by the wrath of Mother Goss. Mercy for the poor wizened child. Lay the curse of blood upon them, and their children, and their children's children forevermore. Each wretched birth will plunge each child into a lifetime of misery.
Honorable Mention 3. Meaningful Story Endings. Multiple endings in video games is nothing new. Usually they are binary choices, either a good or bad option presented in the final hour. Bloodborne offers something more haunting and more substantial, changing the underlying meaning of the story depending on your choice. Option 1 is to accept Gehrman's offer and submit your neck to his burial blade. This satisfies your personal quest to seek a cure to your mysterious malady. Your contract is fulfilled, and the transaction is complete. You awake anew, oblivious to your sins. The world and the nightmare of Bloodborne rages on, uninterrupted. Option 2 is to put Gehrman down on a bed of flowers, inheriting his eternal burden as host of the dream and reluctant guide to future hunters. This is a more selfless act, relieving an old man of his duty, yet it still admits defeat to the order of this world, and to the moon presence who presides over it. Option 3 is to fight a god and usurp his throne. In this ending, the player becomes an infant great one, achieving existential enlightenment and ultimate power over the dream, living out the deepest wishes of Master Willem and the Bergenworth College to be granted eyes and therefore limitless knowledge. Each ending fundamentally redefines what the hunt actually was. You don't just finish the game, you decide the fate of the dream and the nightmare. Pillar 1. Combat. To call Bloodborne's combat fast would be to minimize what it truly is. It is frenetic. This is not the clean, calculated, high fantasy combat of Dark Souls. It is a crimson baptism shimmering under flickering streetlights and smoky corridors. The combat is violent, depraved, and visceral. All things the game pounds into our heads over and over as we become that which we were told to fear. Yet the combat remains crisp and precise, fluid like a deathly dance between feral animals, moving in and out of danger with a quick step. The parry mechanic is not a slow and safe deflection of a shield. It is a gunshot to the face at point-blank range. As hunters, we wear leather garb favoring speed and athleticism over protective armor. Trick weapons transform within the flow of combat, changing from quick attacks to heavy, lengthy slams without any break in the action. Bosses are relentless. They pursue the player like deranged lunatics with a thirst for blood. The greatness of Bloodborne's combat cannot be quantified. It must be felt. The game actively encourages the player to be aggressive and bloodthirsty, blurring the lines between hunter and beast. As we grow stronger, we grow even more merciless and deranged, losing ourselves to the night of the hunt. The mechanical complexities of the trick weapons and rally system more than compensate for the relative lack of weapon variety found in the rest of the Dark Souls series. Each weapon in Bloodborne is fine-tuned to a point, with each moveset feeling like a natural extension of the last. Heavy hammers and serrated blades alike all feel like viable and devastating hunter's tools. The rally system pushes the players to be fearless, trading damage for damage, never stepping back and being passive. Even healing is fast and fluid, unlike the slow and deliberate flask system in other games. The greatest flow state I've ever achieved in a video game has been ripping a beast blood pellet, grabbing all reliable saw cleaver, and unleashing transformation attacks to build the beast meter and wreak havoc on the hellacious beasts of Yharnam. Pillar 2. World Design and Architecture. Believe it or not, I am no architect or game designer. Everything I tried to write here felt disingenuous because I can't really quantify the haunting beauty of Bloodborne's physical world with any justice. So for just this section, indulge me as I write a little prose. The city smoldered on the wreckage of an ancient and perverse knowledge. A great stone carcass stretched to the cosmos against the backdrop of a pale and sickly moon. No natural life remained there. Only the wind howling through the lonely, narrow walkways and half-burnt woodlands, and the perversity of the imbibers. Funeral pyres raged for the living and the dead alike, as the townsfolk muttered prayers behind locked doors, and the hunters no longer find beasts in the street, they find only one another. The grand cathedral stood idle, a stoic mockery of the depravity in and around her. The upper wards cast of iron fences and iron cages, and iron gates, all built to keep out the scourge that manifested from within. The stars above flicker and linger, unseen, blocked by the choking smoke of a burning manor. The distant castle moaned with royalty and antiquity, long forgotten on the Gothic square. Snow-laden gardens and blood-pregnant locusts, full to burst, flightless, depraved. Paneled spires and endless stairs leading to a grand illusion. The undying queen and the martyr who protects the world from her vile secrets. A fickle summons to an honorless kingdom that should be left well alone. A whaler's wharf, barnacle-crusted and teeming with parasites. Blue-gray, bathed in an infected sun. A wooden village sodden with generational guilt and an all-consuming curse. Briny death ate away at the decrepit shacks, and the heavenly corpse soaked into the white sands. A stench most foul ran every blood cold, and every villager slogged in silent and eternal vigil. Here we stand, feet planted in the earth, but might the cosmos be very near us, only just above our heads. Pillar 3. Characters. Characters like Gilbert and Ariana are civilians of Yharnam who get caught up in the hunt and the sickness of the blood. They aren't gods. They have not become immortal. They aren't on a holy quest. They aren't particularly important. These are simply people trying to survive the night of the hunt and seek meaning in the waking world. Even the legendary figures of our story, notably Lawrence and Willem, were scholars of the blood who took wildly different approaches to studying the Great Ones. They achieved greatness through their actions, not their circumstances. To understand the brilliance of Bloodborne's character writing, you need only to look at the tragedy of a music box and a red ribbon. Most players are likely to stumble across a dimly lit window in Yharnam. When approached, a little girl responds.
Who are you? I don't know your voice, but I know that smell. Are you a hunter? And please will you look for my mum? Daddy never came back from the hunt, and she went to find him, but now she's gone too. I'm all alone and scared.
The little girl gives us a music box to remind her father, a hunter out on the night of the hunt, of his humanity.
Oh, I mustn't forget. If you find my mum, give her this music box. It plays one of Daddy's favourite songs, and when Daddy forgets us, we play it for him so he remembers. Mum's so silly running off without it. Oh, thank you. My mum wears a red jewelled brooch. It's so big and beautiful. You won't miss it.
During the boss fight with Gascoigne, playing the music box staggers the father temporarily as the knowledge of his humanity, his family, and his grotesque sins come rushing back, all before the beasthood consumes him anew. We put down Father Gascoigne only to find a shimmering item nearby, a corpse with a red jeweled brooch.
Mr. Hunter, was it really her, Mummy? Mummy! Don't leave me alone.
A chance encounter with a feral hog in the sewers. Once killed, the monster drops a single item, a white ribbon stained red with the blood of the innocent, mere steps away from the safety of Odin Chapel. We return to the dimly lit window.
You haven't by any chance seen my little sister, have you? I told her to look after the house, but she's run off somewhere. She's still quite small, and wears a big white ribbon. Have you seen her out there anywhere? Oh, how did this happen? Why would she ever go outside? At least I'll have something to remember her by.
Later, we find the tragic end of our tale, as the eldest daughter of Gascoigne has thrown herself from a ledge, unable to deal with the sudden loss of her father, her mother, and her dear little sister. This entirely missable subplot of a family torn apart by the hunt speaks to the depth of the world of Bloodborne. The characters are not simply props for gameplay. They feel like citizens of a living, breathing, and dying world. Pillar 4, Music. Honestly, I'm just gonna get out of the way on this one. Pillar 5, Story and Atmosphere. Bloodborne begins as a simple werewolf hunt. It lures you into a false sense of Gothic horror simplicity with a straightforward premise. Gehrman tells us,
Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good.
and we are conditioned to listen, so we start to play it as just a game, as we have been trained to do. And if the developers left it there, Bloodborne would still be an all-time classic. If the game really was about killing beasts for our own good, everything we have discussed till now, including the combat, characters, architecture, music, all of this would still lead the game to being a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. What makes Bloodborne transcendent, and what makes it the greatest game of all time, is that rock-solid foundation upon which Miyazaki and his team tells one of the most fascinating stories ever told. Now that might seem hyperbolic, but I truly don't know how else to say it. When the insight kicks in, and the blood moon rises, and we realize we aren't hunting beasts or sick men, but we are actually a pawn being used by beings from another plane of existence. That is when Bloodborne separates itself from the pack. No werewolf pun intended. The atmosphere is so thick, so all-encompassing, that it followed me into my sleep. I had a dream while playing Bloodborne that was so impactful to me that it inspired me to write a whole ass book about it, and that's true. The link is in the description if anyone cares. It would be a disservice to just try and summarize the story or boil down what makes it great. I truly believe a story like this must be experienced. If you would prefer to simply hear the story, I would highly recommend The Pale Blood Hunt by Redgrave. There are several versions available for free on different platforms. It is brilliantly written and performed. Okay, quick soapbox time. I think it's interesting to consider how the general public will largely miss out on a story like Bloodborne's simply because it is veiled behind a wall of gameplay and stigma. In other words, a ton of people will never play the game just because it's a video game. Bloodborne sold 9.3 million copies and is estimated to have a total player count of around 16 million over its lifetime. Meanwhile, a popular show like Game of Thrones was watched live by an average of 46 million people per episode. It's very difficult to estimate how many people have watched Game of Thrones in any capacity, but conservative estimates put it into several hundreds of millions, up to close to 1 billion people at one time or another. Now, Bloodborne is not some hidden gem or cult classic. It is a mainline, incredibly popular game, but the brilliance of its story and characters will be experienced by a relatively small percentage of people despite it being such an important and brilliant work of art. On the flip side of that coin, that relatively smaller community is precisely why lunatics like me rant and rave about the game to anyone who will listen, because it's just so goddamn good. Bloodborne is a descent into madness, an ascent to the sublime, and the greatest game of all time. Thank you so much for watching. As we get started with the channel, it truly means the world to us that folks are watching and enjoying the content. Subscribing, liking, hyping the video, all of these are the best way to support the channel and help us to grow. We plan to continue this series and extend it beyond FromSoftware titles. They just so happen to be near and dear to my heart. If you'd like a specific game to be covered, feel free to leave a comment below. Until then, tell the little doll I said hello.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.